Count of 4, McGrady at the buzzer. Yeah!
Welcome back, you guys. And on an early December night in 2004, with the Rockets facing a 10-point deficit in the final minute of play against the San Antonio Spurs, Tracy McGrady led his team back to one of the wildest comebacks in NBA history, 13 points in 33 seconds. NBA fans remember McGrady's shot making that night, but what about the details of the plays McGrady did not make a shot on and what the players were saying after the game? Let's talk about the story from that night. To refresh your memory of what the NBA looked like back in 2003 and 2004, Tracy McGrady was coming off back-to-back scoring titles, back-to-back All-NBA first-team selections, and was in the peak of his offensive superpowers. The Minnesota Timberwolves were the #1 seed in the West the year before, Peja Stojakovic finished second in points per game, and Baron Davis led the league in steals per game. In December 2004, the Rockets were playing like an average to below average basketball team. They were 9-11. 7 days before the night of Tracy McGrady's most memorable NBA moment, he scored 48 points and made 6 3-point shots against the Dallas Mavericks in an overtime loss on TNT. The Spurs, on the other hand, were 16-4 and coming off of a 57-win season. Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and Manu Ginobili were on their way, leading the Spurs to another 55-win season. Now to the game. The Spurs were up by 10 on Houston in the final minute and had no reason to worry as the Rockets had trouble scoring all night. They were shooting under 35%, and Houston's bench unit shot 4 of 19 from the field. When Houston guard Bob Sura airballed a 3-point shot with over a minute left to play, the fans were so fed up they loudly booed the team. It looked like another loss and a disappointing start of the season for the Rockets.
And the Rockets are hearing it from the crowd now. Yes, they are.
A good amount of the 16,000 fans that showed up at the Toyota Center that night had left before McGrady began his tear in the final minute. The start of the comeback began on a layup McGrady missed over the top of Bruce Bowen that Yao Ming cleaned up for a two-handed dunk that gave the crowd a bit of life. Houston increased the defensive pressure on Tony Parker and forced him to make a pass that was stolen by Scott Padgett to cut the deficit to 6 points. Greg Popovich called a timeout to regroup and design a play. But the Spurs never ran the play Popovich wanted. He was not happy, and he let his frustration out on Tony Parker and Tim Duncan, who both looked like they are confused at what Manu Ginobili just did on that inbounds. While Devin Brown was making his 2 free throws, Popovich brought in Bruce Bowen and took out Manu. Pop started chewing out Manu for not following the correct inbounds play and throwing a pass that was nearly stolen. Even though San Antonio was still in control of the game, Popovich saw his team playing sloppy and needed them to cut down on the BS. Now here's the start of T-Mac putting his offensive superpowers to work and starting the comeback. McGrady used a pick to force a switch and get Bruce Bowen off of him, and with a little separation he drained a 3-point shot over the top of Malik Rose. After Bob Sura fouls out by putting Devin Brown on the free throw line again, Tracy McGrady brings up the ball, and sideline reporters can begin to hear head coach Jeff Van Gundy yelling at his team, "There's still time, there's still time." Again, McGrady uses a screen from Yao Ming to get Bowen off of him and force a switch. Tim Duncan picks him up at the 3-point line and falls for the pump fake. McGrady draws the foul and throws an impossible shot at the rim and it goes in. Duncan can't believe it. The crowd begins to get louder. Here's a post-game quote from McGrady about the 4-point play on Duncan. "I knew he thought I was going to pull up when I came up off that screen. I knew I could bait him on the pump fake. He went for it. I don't know how I got the ball off. After that, every time I came up the court, I felt whatever I shot would go in." The Rockets have to foul again, and that puts Duncan on the line, who makes both to extend the lead to 5. You know, a lot of NBA comebacks have depended on complete collapses from the other team, like missing free throw shots, but the Spurs did not collapse at the line and went 4 for 4 at the foul line in the final 33 seconds. That's another thing that makes this comeback so memorable, was the stakes kept rising for McGrady and it still did not matter. McGrady said in the postgame, "The way I was feeling those last couple seconds, I felt like anything I would throw up would go in. The rim felt really big to me out there." With 16 seconds left, the Rockets had trouble inbounding the ball, but McGrady was able to rise above Tony Parker to grab it over him. T-Mac took 3 dribbles, stopped at the 3-point line, and rose over the top of arguably the best perimeter defender in the league at the time to make another 3-point shot to cut the lead down to 2. You can see Bowen right here move back at the last second so he wouldn't suffer the same fate as Tim Duncan did on the previous play. but it didn't matter as McGrady was not going down that night. Bruce Bowen told reporters after the game, T-Mac got hot for them, was in a great rhythm, and made some tough shots. He was magical out there tonight. The score is 80-78. San Antonio calls timeout, and McGrady is 11 seconds away from shocking the NBA world. Even though most of the crowd had left earlier, it sounded like a full arena at that point. On the inbounds play, the Rockets sent out 7'6" Yao Ming to make the pass harder for Brent Barry. Barry was able to whip the pass in to get it to Devin Brown, who sees Yao Ming coming to double him, and he goes the other way, but he ended up slipping and losing the ball, and it rolls into Tracy McGrady's hands. Here's what McGrady's thinking was about the final seconds. The only thing I was thinking about was a three. I didn't want to get the ball and try to tie the ball game up. I was going to take my chances going for the three and go for the win. And that's exactly what he did. McGrady brings up the ball quickly, and I'll play the official announcer call.
Timeout demanded. McGrady for the win. Yeah! 1.7 to go.
Making a contested three-point shot over Brent Barry with Tony Parker chasing him from behind, McGrady finished the game with 33 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 steals to give the Rockets an 81-80 win. Tim Duncan said after the game they played a great last 50 seconds. Tracy did. And what were Popovich's thoughts after the game? Guys get hot, he's a great player. A lot of things had to happen for the game to turn out that way. Tracy McGrady said he was never a part of something like that ever in his basketball life. That was like the best feeling to me, just to have my teammates embrace me and just jumping on me like that. That was a great feeling. And when T-Mac was asked about the crowd leaving early, he smiled and said, "For all those fans who left the game early, y'all missed a great game." And it was a great game, an all-time great game. On that night in December 2004, Tracy McGrady created a moment that will never be forgotten. And that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you made it this far, leave a like. It takes a second and helps my channel grow. All news sources that I use are in the description if you want to check the quotes that I use and read some of the articles that were published the night of the game in 2004. My next couple of videos are going to be a bit different from the record videos, but I will be getting back to those soon. I've seen a lot of videos and websites use 35 and 33 seconds, so I'm not exactly sure which one to put in the title. NBA's YouTube channel says 35 seconds, but if you go on other sites like Fox Sports, they use 33 seconds. So that is for those who may leave a comment about that. My name is Kane, and I'll see you guys in my next video.